Pros and cons of living in Anaheim Hills. It's November 1st, it's about 5 o'clock today, and it's a perfect weather out here in the yard. One of the reasons Anaheim Hills is a great place to move to is because of the weather, the scenery, and the area it's located in as far as Orange County goes. So let's talk about it. Pro number one, obviously it's the weather. Year-round the weather is great. As I mentioned earlier, it's about 65-70 degrees November 1st, 2020, day after Halloween. A lot of people move out here because of the weather. Yes, it does get hot August and September, but overall you can see temperatures in summertime ranging from 80 degrees to 90 degrees. Sometimes it gets to 95, but overall great temperatures. So one of the reasons a lot of people move out here, especially the retirees or the older generation or the elder generation, is because of the great weather. Pro number two, the beauty and nature of Anaheim Hills. One of the reasons I moved here 24 years ago is because of the scenery, the greenery, the hills. Anaheim Hills offers a lot of trails and hiking trails and biking trails. It has a lot of parks, and it has an Oak Canyon Nature Center, and a lot of small parks where adults can enjoy, little kids can enjoy, and even the seniors can enjoy. The hills, the roads are hilly, there's greenery everywhere, and it stays like this throughout the year. Even in summertime when it gets hot, you see a lot of greenery out here. So that's the pro number two. By the way, I'm Mike Patel. I live in Anaheim Hills and work in Anaheim Hills. I've lived here for almost 24 years, surprisingly. And I work for First Team Real Estate. And also, thanks for watching this channel and this video. I would really like your support if you can subscribe to my channel. I put out weekly videos every week with lifestyle of Anaheim Hills and the surrounding areas, statistics, and what's happening in the real estate market, especially in this changing and trending market. So appreciate you watching again. Pro number three is a lot of people move here because of its homes and the communities the Anaheim Hills area has to offer. Whether you're buying a townhouse, a starter home, or you're buying a single family home, a typical 1,500 square feet home, or a newer home in the Weir Canyon Highlands area, or there's custom homes. So Anaheim Hills offers a variety of homes in all price ranges and all sizes. Some of the homes in Peralta Hills, they offer 1 acre lots, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet homes, but they have 1 acre lots. So if you're into gardening, or you want a tennis court, or you want a basketball court, or a lot of area for entertainment, we've got homes for that. We also have in Anaheim Hills gated communities. There's actually 3 guard gated communities. I'm showing a house right now to a lady who just retired. She's a doctor, and she said that she has to have a guard gated community. Pro tip number 5, Anaheim Hills has a lot of senior living centers. Right down the street from where I live, there's one center owned by the Meridians. There's another one near Weir Canyon. There's actually 4 or 5 senior living centers. So if you want your parents, or if you yourself want to retire and live here in a great community, Anaheim Hills offers those facilities. So let's move on to pro tip number 6. And this is very important because a lot of the people that move here is because of pro tip number 6, and that has to do with what kind of schools they offer. In fact, one of the reasons I moved to Anaheim Hills when my kids were little, one was going to elementary and my son was going to junior high, I moved to Anaheim Hills because of the schools. The school belongs to the Orange Unified School District. There's at least 3 to 5 elementary schools in Anaheim Hills. There's one just down the street from where I live here at the corner of Knoll Ranch and Serrano. The junior high school, which is the El Rancho Junior High School, it's a chartered high school, has a very good location, and it's a very well respected and sought after junior high school. So also the high school, which is the Canyon High School, is very well respected. A lot of people move here. I know personally some of my friends who moved to Anaheim Hills because they wanted their kids back then. This was like 15 years ago. Canyon Hills High School, or what is called the Canyon High, which is on Imperial Highway and Knoll Ranch. Pro tip number 7, One of the things that a lot of people like about Anaheim Hills is that it's really a residential area. It's obviously Anaheim Hills is part of Anaheim, and in Anaheim towards the 91 and the 55 and the 57 freeway, there's warehouses, there's commercial, there's industrial buildings and zones there. But in Anaheim Hills, it's mostly residential. There are a few commercial buildings, office buildings, storage facilities, but it's kind of minimal. So if you really want a true residential community, Anaheim Hills is a true residential community. Pro tip number 8. Anaheim Hills offers, especially these days, 2 major fitness centers. One is the LA Fitness Center and one is the 24-hour fitness center. But there's so many studio type fitness centers. There's yoga centers, there's meditation centers, there's spa centers and personal training. So if you're into health, which a lot of us are today, and if you want those big centers like 24-hour fitness, or if you want the smaller private mom and pop type fitness centers, yoga centers, Anaheim Hills has at least 7 to 10. So that's a great reason to move to Anaheim Hills, and it's very reachable, very close to your home. So the last point I will talk about is the pro tip number 9. This has to do with the diversity of the people and the type of people that move here and live here. Anaheim Hills has a variety of people, so let's talk about the age group first. A lot of diversity in age. We have young millennials moving here. We have the adults with kids going to high school moving out here. And then we have a lot of seniors moving out here. So you have a variety of people moving out here as far as age goes. The second thing I wanted to talk about as far as diversity goes is the income. We have people who rent over here, nothing wrong with that. But as far as income goes, we have people who want to rent, people who can afford townhouses in the 400 to 500,000 range. We have people living here in the homes that are anywhere from $750 to $1 million homes. And then we have people who move out here, want to live in custom homes, in the Copa de Oro community, in the Summit Point community, in the Bel Some community, in the Peralta Hills community, where homes range anywhere from, in all these custom homes, anywhere from $1 million to up to $5 to $6 million. So there's a big variety of people moving out here as far as diversity goes. And also one more thing is that we have all kinds of people. We have Indian people like myself, a big community. We have Chinese people. We have Hispanic people. We have Middle Eastern people. So there's a mixture of variety of people as far as race goes. So that gives you an idea what kind of town Anaheim Hills is. Hope that helps. Okay, let's talk about cons about living in Anaheim Hills. I really don't want to talk about it because I don't like to say bad things about Anaheim Hills. But as they say, where there is light, there is darkness. Where there is pros, there's cons. So let's talk about the cons of Anaheim Hills. Con number 1, if you're a foodie or if you like to eat out, one of the things I personally don't like about Anaheim Hills is it does not have a lot of restaurants. There are a few nice restaurants where you can go out and relax and sit and eat. But if you want something for a date or an outing or a celebration, there's not really many fancy restaurants in Anaheim Hills. Nightlife kind of slows down a little bit. So you may have to go to Irvine Spectrum or Brea Promenade or go to Fullerton to have some real nice fancy variety of choices of restaurants. So Anaheim Hills is limited in choice as far as fancy restaurants goes, but they do have a lots of small restaurants, Chinese, Thai restaurant, Italian restaurant, American restaurants. So there is a variety, but nothing really fancy. Con number 2 is we talked about homes earlier. Living in Anaheim Hills is not cheap, I can tell you that right now. The median home price of Anaheim Hills is around $750,000, which is pretty expensive if you compare to the national average. National average median home is about $250,000. So just to give you an idea, an average 2 bedrooms, 2 bath townhouse or a condo in Anaheim Hills will sell for over $400,000. A typical 1,500 square feet home built in the 1970s will run about $750,000. If you buy in the Highlands near the Weir Canyon area, near Weir Canyon in Serrano, all those newer homes built in the early 90s, 2,500 square feet home will easily go for $1 million. And then I mentioned to you about those gated communities. I just showed a house yesterday in Peralta Hills. It's a 5,500 square feet home on 1 acre lot, and that asking price was $2.96 million. and it did need at least $200,000 worth of work. Homes in Copa de Oro, they range anywhere from $3 to $5 million. So homes are expensive in Anaheim Hills. Con number 3, talking about rentals. There are a lot of rental apartments in Anaheim Hills. There's a huge community near Weir Canyon and Serrano. The average rents over there, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath over there, starts at about $1,500 a month. So renting in Anaheim Hills is not cheap. I'll give you an example. I just rented a 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, single story townhouse in a gated community in the Viewpoint North. This was a single story and we were asking for $2,400 and I had 10 applications on it. That's like over $2 per square foot, which is very expensive, but that's the rental rates. Homes on average go from, a typical house will go for $1.60 to $2 per square foot. So that gives you an idea how expensive it is. But you have all the other things we talk about in the pros. So it just gives you an idea. Con number 4 is if you're looking for nightlife in Anaheim Hills, sorry to say, but there's not a lot of nightlife over here. There's not a whole lot of clubs or fancy restaurants that you could go to. So if you want to do a nightlife or want to go out and party or go to a club, you have to go out of town. Fullerton, Brea, Irvine, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, which is about 30 miles away. So not a whole lot of nightlife, as it's more toned down residential community. Con number 6, if you're a shopper, I have some bad news for you. There's not a lot of shopping in Anaheim Hills. Yes, there are a lot of small shops. There's pavilions and Ralph's and CVS stores. So a lot of supermarkets and things like that. There's also a Mother's Market. But if you want to go shopping, jewelry shopping, clothes shopping, there's not a lot of shops here, although there's some boutique stores all over Anaheim Hills. So that's one of the cons that I would say. I'm not a lot into shopping, so it doesn't really bother me, but I know some people love shopping. So you may have to go drive 10-15 minutes out to go shopping. South Coast Plaza is about 20 minutes drive from here, depending on what type of day you go to. So that's a con for Anaheim Hills. Con number 7 is that we are parallel. Anaheim Hills is a long neighborhood part of Anaheim, and it's kind of parallel to the 91 freeway. So what happens in the morning is when there's a traffic jam on the 91 freeway, going west, a lot of people get off the freeway and come on Santa Ana Canyon Road. And in the evening, when the traffic 91 is towards going east, towards Corona, Riverside, Moreno Valley, it's very jam-packed. So a lot of people get off and come parallel on Santa Ana Canyon Road. So there is a lot of traffic, not a traffic jam, but it does make the Santa Ana Canyon Road and other parts very busy. Although during the COVID times right now, there is not much, but when we get back to normal traffic times and work situation, we will see that traffic. So if you don't like traffic, that may be a factor you want to consider as far as congestion. Con number 8. Anaheim Hills is very hilly, like I mentioned to you earlier. I'm in my backyard and it's pretty open over here and I can feel the breeze right now. So what happens is in October, November, sometime in September, in Anaheim Hills and of course in a lot of parts of Orange County, Yorba Linda and Corona, we have what we call the Santa Ana winds. Sometimes they get pretty windy. This is very temporary, but when the winds blow, they blow anywhere from 30 to 40, 50 miles per hour. In fact, 2 weeks ago, or I would say just 10 days ago, we had winds, Santa Ana winds, that were up to 80 miles an hour. And I'm sad to say that sometimes that does create fires. I have been evacuated myself from my house during the Santa Ana winds when a fire caught on. So we were evacuated. In fact, just last week, when the winds were very heavy, as I mentioned to you, there was fires in Irvine, which is going this way like 10 miles away. And winds was one of the factors why there was a fire. And that fire came to Yorba Linda, just other side of 91 freeway, and the winds did not help. So the last con I'm going to talk about is there is Santa Ana Canyon winds, and if it catches on a fire day, it blows up that fire. So hope that helps. Again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any information that you would like about Anaheim Hills or surrounding areas, just hit me up in my description or in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer any questions for you. Thank you.